Hi, I'm Rob with the Skullhooker, and today we're going to talk about our newest product, which is the bone bracket. The bone bracket's designed for all of your skull cap trophies. So for you guys that have already cut off the skulls themselves, this bracket is designed to help securely hang and customize those trophies on the wall. Well, you might ask, why the bone bracket? I've never been a big fan of the big plaques with the velvet and all of that. Typically it'll mount the buck in more of a downward position. There's no customization features whatsoever. The plaque just dominates the head itself, is one reason why I don't like it. So what we decided to come up with and provide as an alternative to the wood plaque or the plaque type presentation is the bone bracket. It's a more streamlined streak presentation. It's very close to the wall. From the front you wouldn't see a bracket. You're able to adjust both left and right of the bracket itself. You can customize your angle up and down. So the bone bracket itself will just give you a lot more customization features, yet still allow you a secure and attractive way to hang your skull cap trophies. Let's take a look at how easy this product is to use and take a look at the different components and parts of it, and then we'll talk about how to install it. Installation's easy. On the back of every bone bracket package you're going to find all of your detailed instructions. Of course, our website is going to have information on that as well. But the parts and components of this are very simple. First, you're going to have your wall plaque. This is what's going to be mounted vertically to the wall itself. In addition to that, you're going to have a pre-assembled two parts really. One's what we call the arm, and that was the piece that would come off of the wall plaque itself. So these arms or pegs, if you will, are tapered and they slide into those canisters. It allows to securely hang your trophies. And then another piece that's on the end of your arm was what we call the skull plate adapter. And this is the piece that's going to allow you for your adjustability. So a second screw and lock nut will go into here once you determine your proper angle. Once your wall plate is securely mounted to the wall and into a stud, and again, you want to make sure that your lag screws or wall screws are mounted vertically so that this wall plaque itself isn't canted or slightly turned one way or the other. All the necessary instructions are on the back of every package of a bone bracket. But we want to talk about a few tips of installation to make things a little easier for you. All your necessary hardware is included. What we're going to do is we're going to pre-drill two holes. They're going to be 5/8 of an inch apart. We do provide a mounting template that you can cut out and utilize on the back of your packaging and installation instructions. Or you can very simply grab your bone bracket unit itself and pre-drill and mark your holes simply by inserting a colored pen through the slots themselves. What's important, no matter how what method you use for drilling these holes, is to make sure that the holes are centered. We typically will pre-drill and mark holes on each side of the ridge that runs along the front of the skull plate. Once you mark these holes, you can pre-drill these with a 3/16 inch drill bit. Once they're drilled, take supplied screws that come with every bone bracket, insert them through the front part of the skull plate itself, and then from the back side, as you can see from the front of this bone bracket itself, this is the skull plate adapter. It has some curved or arced slots. We purposely designed these that way so that once you get installed, you can do some minor adjustments left and right so that you're at your trophies level. But for installation purposes, what you want to do is make sure that the pegs that go into the wall bracket itself or the wall plate are pointed downward, so you're not installing the bone bracket upside down. So make sure they are pointed downward. You can slip your two slots through the supplied screws that are already into your skull plate, and then just simply lightly tighten those supplied lock nuts. One thing to note here is, do not over tighten. It could crack your skull. You just want it so it's snug, and your installation of the arm itself is complete at that point. Once your arm and your skull plate adapter is securely fastened to the back side of your skull plate, now we simply just drop the two arms or pegs into the tubes of the hole of the wall plaque. And now, similar to the little hooker, you can adjust your angle with one screw. There's 12 adjustability angles that you can select. Simply insert a screw once you determine what angle looks the best for your trophy, and then a corresponding lock nut to go with it. Once your bone bracket is mounted, you've got the appropriate angle that looks best to your eye. Make sure you tighten any remaining lock nuts. If your trophy is cantering or leaning one side or the other, there's a very simple fix to this. Just simply grab the antlers and do some minor tweaking left and right to get that looking upright and straight. Also, the bone bracket, like the little hooker, will adjust side to side, left and right. And if you're in a windy area or outside or in a barn, wherever you might be mounting your trophies, if you want to lock it in certain positions, the legs or pegs of the arm itself are tapered in this area here. And so when you install those into the plaque, you can simply pull down on top of the arm itself and push it into those wall canisters, and it'll lock that arm into certain positions. Just another tip, if you need to have that angled in a certain way or a certain look, it'll keep it from swinging left or right. One other thing I want to talk about is the presentation of the skull cap itself. In a lot of cases, most guys will just whack and cut off the skull cap in a more of a horizontal type cut. Not the most attractive looking overall presentation. This buck in here was cut a little bit different in the sense that it was left with quite a bit of skull both behind it and then down in the front, just for a little bit different look. Some guys are hanging their skull cap trophies with the hide still attached, and we've left enough of our screw length, or we provide a long enough screw length that this will allow for installation even with the trophies that have the hide attached as well. But what's important is if you're for future trophies down the road, you can think about how you want your skull cap to appear. Now, this buck in particular here was cut with more of a diamond or a pointed tip to it, as you can see in the front, which gives it a little better appearance than your standard horizontal type cuts. Just something to think about next year when you get that trophy down, you get to go where you're going to cut the horns off the head. You might think twice about how much skull you're going to leave, and maybe you want to customize the overall look of it.